It's no secret that for women of color on reality dating shows, achieving that happily ever after ending is all too rare. Through lack of cast diversity and strategically placed cast members, it seems as though the producers of reality television have a blatant agenda to capitalize off of Black women's pain and portray us as unlovable. So, let's dive deep and analyze the sadly ever after the world of reality television has created for Black women. Let's begin with why we watch reality dating shows in the first place. Hey Siri, what's the purpose of reality dating shows? Oh, duh, the answer's right here. We're fascinated by love, and reality television opens the door to some of the most intimate moments of people's love lives. According to psychologist Dr. Helen Fisher, for millions of years, humans have been observing others to get tips on how to live. Reality television makes determining these observations even easier. Furthermore, if this is the case, how are reality dating shows teaching the world to view and perceive Black women? Shows like Love Island and Too Hot to Handle have capitalized off putting Black women in disadvantaged positions. Stuart Hall says in the work of representation, meaning, and language, representation is an essential part of the process by which meaning is produced and exchanged between members of a culture. The culture reality dating shows create normalizes the mistreatment and exploitation of Black women by their romantic partners. Let's take a look at Love Island Season 4, for example. Samira was the only Black woman contestant this season, but she had to deal with blow after blow of being told that she wasn't the type of any male on the show.
Now, we all know her having this infectious, bubbly personality, and her perseverance is what kept her going on throughout this entire competition, where she obviously found it very hard to find a particular person who found interest in her, and that, to an extent, week by week, took a mental toll on her. And as us viewers watching, a lot of us most definitely felt sorry for her, wanted her to leave the competition, thought she wouldn't find anyone, and thought she wouldn't win the competition either.
Samira's bubbly personality made it so that viewers fell in love with her and wanted to cheer for her to find her man. So when Samira finally found herself in a happy couple with castmate Frankie Foster, it was fair to assume that producers would have been falling over themselves to show fans that Samira had finally found her Prince Charming, her happy ending. However, following Samira's departure, it came to light that the ITV2 network actually failed to air scenes that showed how close Frankie and Samira had become, including the night they spent together in the hideaway. This is very different from what they showed of their white castmates. This decision might be viewed as a simple oversight to some. However, to others, it almost felt intentional. We often saw Samira as the white female contestant's shoulder to cry on or relationship advice expert for the boys. However, have you ever heard the term coaches don't play? That was Samira's story the whole time. This harps back on the stereotypical depiction of Black women in both TV and film, historically playing the role of the reliable best friend to their white counterparts. It seems as though Love Island, whether consciously or not, followed this formula. It isn't quite an issue of racism, but it does raise the question of misogynoir, the combined prejudice of sexism and racism that affects Black women. Did Love Island producers limit Samira's time on screen because she didn't fit the physical profile of the usual female love interest we see on TV? I think that's up for debate. Listen here to see what Samira had to say about her time.
People felt that you'd been edited out of quite a lot of things. And how do you feel about that?
I think with me, I wasn't in the drama. I didn't really have any conflict with anyone. I'd always kind of be there for advice and stuff. And again, because I was single, I haven't got a storyline. And other people are growing, more into storylines and cupping up other people and getting really intense with their relationships. So I didn't have really anything. It was just once Alex and I were friends, and then blah, blah, that was kind of it for a while for me. So maybe I was a little bit boring. I don't know.
No, you were far from boring, mate.
Now, shifting gears from Love Island to another toxic reality show, Too Hot to Handle, they're also another example of Black women being pit against each other or just left out of the entire dating scenario. Netflix Too Hot to Handle is another example of reality television portraying Black women in relationships as toxic. Take the love triangle between Truth, Jazz, and Izzy in season 3. It's a perfect example of this. The producers of the show placed Izzy and Jazz, the only two Black women on the show, against each other to compete for Truth's affection. Neither of the women got the man, as his attention drifted to new women as they were brought on the island. Jazz ended up going home due to no other guys being interested in her after Truth.
They're all fine. They are all fine. Jazz, she has beautiful chocolate skin. I just want a piece of, And Izzy, she's smoking hot.
Now tell me, the question isn't that he's not attracted, that is he attracted to both people? He's definitely attracted to both girls. The question is, which one is he going to choose? The description of Jazz, she is beautiful, chocolate skin, because she is, right? She's beautiful, chocolate skin. That's not get my rocks off though. But when he describes Izzy, she's smoking hot. There's a complete difference. It's not to say that both of them are not good looking. It's to say that where he's putting each person in a category and what he's providing to do. Because we see later on in the end who he ends up going to. It's not Jazz. It's not Jazz.
John Fisk explains these codes in which television production teams use 3-level codes, which are reality, representation, and ideology. Level 1 says that reality is encoded by social codes, for example, speech and gesture. As you can see from the clip, Truth had a very confident posture leaning back in his confessional chair, where he basically rated the two girls and pitted them against one another. This differs greatly from the women's demeanor and speech, as they were basically trying to sell themselves to the man. The producer's showcase of this relationship dynamic ties back into the real-world stereotypes that Black women are unfit for relationships and undeserving of their own love story. So now that we've uncovered some of the production behind Black women experiences on reality dating shows, it's time to question why Black women put themselves on these shows that resemble the troubled experiences of real-life dating. If reality television serves as a romanticized version of our realities, there's almost a guarantee that things won't work out for Black women on dating shows unless they are the center of the focus. So why do we go on them? The core objective for contestants are the same: finding true love. But for Black women on these shows, establishing a romantic connection is significantly more difficult than it is for their peers in other races. And in a genre where anti-Blackness and racism run rampant, it's becoming more and more clear that the only thing worth pursuing for Black women on these productions is not love, it's the money.